Free Japan Channel number 99. Today, August 18th, Monday. The time is 9 p.m. Good evening, everybody. How are you doing? Now, I'm broadcasting this FGC from Fuji, Shizuoka Prefecture. Fuji City is famous for its good view to Mount Fuji. But now, 9 p.m., I can't see anything outside. Maybe I will see the beautiful scenery tomorrow morning, but it depends on the weather. Anyway, today's topic is, what is Yasukuni Shrine? Do you know the Japanese shrine called Yasukuni Shrine? Yasukuni is located in Tokyo, Kudan, and this shrine was established only after Meiji Restoration. Japanese Meiji Restoration was from 1867 to 1868. Therefore, approximately 150 years ago, it was Meiji Restoration. And thanks to this restoration, Japanese history is back to the imperial era. Japanese history was 700 years or so warrior hegemony from Kamakura era to the end of Edo era, and Meiji Restoration put an end to this Edo era, and Meiji era began. Of course, this drastic change accompanied war, and the Yasukuni Shrine was established to calm the souls of dead at the war of this Meiji Restoration. Yasukuni Shrine was only established after Meiji era, so at the beginning of Meiji era, after the Meiji Restoration. Since then, this shrine began to be famous for its war victims, so-called soldiers, who died in the war. At first, it was the war of Meiji Restoration. After that, Japan-Sino War, which occurred 94, and it ended 1895. Next, Japan-Russo War, which started in 1904 and ended 1905. Especially this Yasukuni Shrine accommodates so many souls of soldiers who died during the Pacific War, the war against the United States. The number of soldiers who died in the previous wars were relatively small. Meiji Restoration War, Japan-Sino War, Japan-Russo War. Yasukuni Shrine was known as the shrine which accommodates the soul of soldiers who died for the country Japan. However, the Pacific War, the victims of soldiers were so many that the meaning of Yasukuni Shrine also became significant. Even during the war, so many soldiers swear to each other that they would meet again at Yasukuni Shrine. We will meet, or we shall meet at the Yasukuni Shrine after the death in this war. It was a slogan, or it was a motto of Japanese soldiers who were fighting against the United States in various places, in New Guinea, in Guadalcanal, in Saipan, in Burma, Philippines, Okinawa. There were so many Japanese soldiers who died miserably, not died from the fighting, but from the diseases or from the hunger. Approximately 60% or 70% of Japanese soldiers died because of the hunger and diseases, not because of the fighting. Yasukuni Shrine was regarded as a place where these souls of soldiers who died in the war could meet each other again. So Japanese people, soldiers, believed at that time, or still some Japanese believe that these soldiers' souls come back to Yasukuni Shrine, and they are still now there. Therefore, when we worship at Yasukuni Shrine, this means we worship at the unknown soldiers and to calm the souls who died in the war. Perhaps you may guess that this shrine was or is exploited by right-wing movement. Yes, in a sense, this Yasukuni Shrine has been exploited by the right-wing movement. In any country, right-wing people or conservative people extol the soldiers who died for the country. In any country, right-wing people do so. Of course, in Japan, there are some people of conservatism or right-wing who say that we should worship the souls of dead soldiers. I am not against this opinion. I am very grateful for the soldiers who died for the country, for Japan, my mother country. However, looking back, the Pacific War, it was not a war of glorious Japan Empire. It was such a stupid war, in my opinion. Japanese people, so politicians or high-ranking soldiers, began that Pacific War without any without any scheme or without any possibility of winning the war. Rather, they started that war like gambling. Like gambling. The famous Japanese admiral Isoroku Yamamoto was very famous for his propensity to gambling, and he really wanted to be a gambler in Monaco or Singapore. This is a real story of Yamamoto. Not only Yamamoto, but other generals or politicians charged into the Pacific War with their eyes closed. Such a war cannot be successful. Of course, it didn't succeed. Instead, Japan was defeated thoroughly by the U.S. Army, and together, roughly 3 million people, including civilians, died during the Pacific War. 2 atomic bombs were dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and other cities, Tokyo and Osaka, were also bombarded by B-29 at the time. So not only soldiers, but many civilians were sacrificed or were the victims of Pacific War. Looking back the nature of the Pacific War in this way, I'm not in the mood to go to Yasukuni Shrine. Especially Japanese people tend to go to Yasukuni Shrine and worship the souls of dead soldiers in August, because it was August when Japan declared the defeat and the acceptance of Potsdam Declaration. It was August 15th. So now is the time. Then many people are likely to go to Yasukuni Shrine, and others also think of Yasukuni and Pacific War. August is the month when Japanese people look back to the Pacific War and Yasukuni Shrine. I'm of the opinion that the Pacific War was a very silly war for Japanese people, and it was a very useless war, and many Japanese people died uselessly. This is my opinion. Politicians, high-ranking generals and admirals who were responsible for the management of the country at the time, so before the war, they should have done their best to avoid the Pacific War, and it was very, very possible to avoid the Pacific War. Nevertheless, Japanese soldiers and politicians only angered the United States as well as United Kingdom at the time. Japanese high-ranking people established Manchurian state. It was 1932, which was not admitted by the major countries of the world. And after that, Japan invaded Chinese country, which was also the source of hostility of the United States and the United Kingdom against Japan. So the United States and United Kingdom, these two countries, rooted for Chiang Kai-shek, the Chinese soldier, against whom Japan was fighting. So virtually, America and England became the enemy country in 1930s for Japan. It was all the fault of politicians, irresponsible politicians, and reckless soldiers, from my point of view. Then, Yasukuni Shrine, can we really worship that shrine or worship the soul of dead soldiers? Of course, we should. We should be grateful to the person or to the soldiers who fought for our country, Japan. But I don't think that it is in the form of going to Yasukuni and worshipping there. We should individually worship these soldiers in our heart, not at Yasukuni Shrine. Yasukuni Shrine was, as I said, has been exploited by the right-wing people. Here, right-wing people has a negative meaning, of course. These right-wing people embellish Yasukuni Shrine, at the same time beautifying, glorifying the Pacific War. And they are likely to say that the Pacific War was a sacred war for Japan and Japanese people. How stupid this is, how silly this insistence is. What is Yasukuni Shrine? Yasukuni Shrine is a place where the souls who died in the war place come back. However, in my opinion, Yasukuni Shrine has already got the very negative significance from even Japanese people. Therefore, Prime Minister, for example, Prime Minister now, Mr. Ishiba is the Prime Minister, but couldn't go to Yasukuni Shrine on 15th August this year. And it is already a long time that the Prime Minister of Japan don't go to Yasukuni. Maybe Japanese people should establish another memorial, another place for worship to the soul instead of Yasukuni. But there should be so much controversy in order to establish such institution. Therefore, the debate will also continue in the future about the status of Yasukuni and the meaning of Yasukuni. Thank you.